on his way. Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way, motherfucker. Oh, the devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Fall to your knees. Devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Motherfucker, he's on his...
Mountain Murders is an Appalachian true crime podcast. Listener discretion is advised. The show contains graphic language and depictions of violence. It may not be suitable for all audiences.
We say fuck a lot. Hey guys, welcome back to Mountain Murders.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
DIY.
Oh, what? You're going to do it yourself?
DIY Dylan.
DIY Dylan?
Yeah, meaning that if you need something done, you need to do it yourself. Don't ask Dylan.
Well, that's true. But I can consult on the project, and I have a lot of good ideas. So, how's everybody doing today?
How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I had to work nights this weekend, so it kind of sucks.
I just got back from my road trip, and it's exhausting. I must be getting old because driving in a car for an extended period of time, wears me out. And 10, 15 years ago, I was like, go, go, go all the time. Could drive to California and back and be, totally great with my, 18 hours of driving every day. But now I'm like, oh.
So just sitting in the car, it wears you out?
Some days of recovery after I get back from a trip. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's because we worry more when we get older.
Perhaps. Now, I have to say, many of you who listen and follow on social media know that I took a trip to West Virginia, which, by the way, beautiful state.
That's what you said.
It's absolutely gorgeous there. And, of course, we're visiting at a perfect time. You've got all the fall leaves, the color. It's really beautiful there. We went to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. I did a ghost tour while I was there. Had some very unexplainable things happen.
Oh, you reckon they were rigging it, doing some stuff, banging around?
I don't see how that's possible when we were on a floor by ourselves and we could walk around and explore.
Oh.
And these things were happening. So
really?
I'm not sure. I don't want to be like a crazy person. Yes, there were ghosts. But definitely stuff I can't explain.
Well, I will say a place like that, and the way I think about energy, if somewhere can be haunted or still, have energy left over from people's life forces, that's got to be a place where it happened.
Went to the West Virginia Penitentiary, the prison that's closed now at Moundsville. Kind of the same energy, a different energy, but you can tell these places, if there is supernatural or paranormal, it's got to be there.
Well, it's just, these places where people suffer or just, are perpetually in a state of misery, in their mind and things like that. I think those are some strong, be places where it's kind of a magnet for stuff like that.
I happen to capture a couple of things on video. You've seen some of my videos, Dylan. But I'm thinking maybe we should prepare an offbeat episode about Trans-Allegheny. I don't want to release an episode this week for offbeat about the asylum because we just covered the Highland Hospital.
Yeah, but we come back around to it.
Oh, we will. And when we do, I will strip the audio from the videos and we will play some of the sounds I picked up while in the hospital because it is just wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard that audio.
Okay, I'll have to play it for you.
Well, that sounds really cool. I did see one video. You had one interesting aspect of that video. We'll go into it some other time.
Flashlights turning on and off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was strange.
You had a full-on orb in one video.
I did.
Yes, typically with orbs, I would say, hey, that's a dust particle, blah, blah, blah.
This was not a dust particle.
Well, if it was, this was a magic dust particle, just like the magic bullet that killed Kennedy, because that sucker was jumping all over the damn place. It was going against any type of airflow and changing direction, so that's pretty interesting.
It was very interesting, Dylan.
All right, well, I have something that happened to me.
Yes, you do.
While you were gone.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I made some videos. Yeah, I made some dad videos. What do you think about that? Weren't you just telling me?
Are you saying that you just made some cheesy joke video and put it on TikTok? Like, what do you mean you made a dad video?
No, I need a TikTok because I have some things in my head that I need to say to the public.
Okay.
I think will be well received.
All right.
No, but I made a video of me drinking a tall boy and I smoked a half a pack of cigarettes. So, that'll be released at some point when I find the proper market. Oh, I have something interesting to say.
Yeah, I know.
Good news.
I thought this was like your cool story, but okay, go ahead.
I was trying to be stupid. Did it work?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Every time.
So there was an article released in the USA Today yesterday. Some good news on the missing children front. This is very interesting.
It is very interesting.
It was so interesting, I sent it to you in the middle of the night, and you were like, okay, thanks. No, but you sent me a documentary back that blew my mind. We'll talk more about that later.
Oh, Wednesday, our offbeat episode is going to be a deep dive down a rabbit hole. It is something else. A little bit of conspiracy theory, a lot of WTF. Some people may not even want to listen to the episode because it's very disturbing content.
Oh, my God. That's going to be a long episode. You know this, right?
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot to
Well,
unpack.
just to let you know, Dylan, some important things last longer than 90 seconds.
That's true. It's like our sex life.
Yeah.
Thanks. That was a good one. So, no, federal marshals around the country have recovered over 400 children, quote, out of harm's way and returned to their guardians in several states around the country.
I need to know more.
So, yes, a 5-day search in Virginia resulted in the recovery of 27 missing children, the latest in a series of operations led by the U.S. Marshals Service that have reunited hundreds of endangered youngsters with their legal guardians this year. So, apparently, they've been doing these kind of task force, joint efforts, the Marshal Service with local authorities and things of that nature. And more than 60 law enforcement investigators collaborated with the Virginia Department of Social Services and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and a team of medical professionals during Operation Find Our Children.
Wow.
So the only thing...
I wish there was more detail, which I understand this is likely taken from press release.
Yes, and actually this is from the USA Today, is the article, and I'm quoting directly from it. And I'm going to dig around, try to find more information, like what types of situations, because it seems like it might be a lot of them are just like runaway. I hate to say that because I sound like every, police station.
1980s missing persons.
Yeah, well, maybe they ran away, but all their stuff and their arm is here. Well, if they don't come back for their arm in a week, let us know. But yeah, I think a lot of them may have just been, off with maybe peers. And I haven't corroborated this. But
You're speculating.
I'm speculating, and but I will dig more. But they have recovered children, and let's see here. In Ohio, similar operations have happened in Ohio, Georgia, Indiana, and other states that have succeeded in taking more than 440 children out of harm's way. So no matter what situations these kids were in, there's good news. 440 kids are back home. But, as I was saying that, I'm thinking about they may have been running away from a horrible situation at home. So, what can you do?
I just thought of a really fun drinking game.
Okay.
Although, if our listeners decide to participate, it might kill them. Every time Dylan says or but, you take a drink.
Did I do a lot?
You'll be drunk within like 30 seconds.
Oh, my God. I tried to have clean speech.
Well, I'm just fucking with you, but yeah, when you listen, you're gonna be like, "Wow, I said and but yeah, but."
Well, I get nervous when I read out loud.
Why?
Oh my God!
We're gonna work on this. You need to be reading some poetry or something, Dylan. I'm gonna get you some sonnets.
This is Dylan Packer at the Channel 11 news desk. Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound official?
Well, I don't know. When I was reading the news, I would be like, From the 540 News Center, I'm Heather Hyatt.
Oh, wow. See, that sounds professional. That sounds like that's your job.
Well, it was, and I got paid to do it, so I suppose that makes me a professional? I don't know. This is episode 110.
Oh my God, that's a
Just
lot.
Mind blown every time we record a new episode and we're up in the 3 digits. What?
What?
Today's episode was suggested by a listener, I believe a patron.
It was a patron.
So it's been on my list for quite a while.
So long that we forgot who
Finally-
suggested it.
Yeah, finally getting to it. Well, hey, I have my year mapped out as far as true crime tales. Part of 2021 mapped out. So I take your suggestions, I put them on a list, and eventually we will get around to your suggestions.
She knows who she is, and we thank her from the bottom of our hearts.
Yes, definitely.
Because this is a crazy story, and this guy's a real monster.
It's a crazy one. Are you ready, Dylan?
I am ready to dive in with 2 feet.
Okay. You're not going to just like belly flop into it?
Probably.
You're I don't think diving in with 2 feet.
Well, that's the way I say it.
All right.
I don't give a shit.
He's
I still got 2 feet.
He's belly flopping into it.
I can dive like a swan. Do swans dive? I'm graceful. I move good for a big guy.
You do have a lot of agility.
Yeah, thank you for that.
For a big guy.
Yeah.
You move pretty good for a big boy.
Yeah, well, and the Dad Olympics I could dominate.
Yeah, well, if it was smoking and cussing.
No,
then
I
probably.
can move really fast for like 30 seconds. That's just long enough to get myself away from something blowing up.
I like you're telling on yourself here.
That's true.
Okay, Barton Thomas Corbin was born December 22nd, 1963 in Jacksonville, Florida, to parents Gene and Connie. Gene was a military policeman and Connie a bank teller. The couple welcomed Bart 3 minutes after son Bradley. So he's a twin.
Wow, that's he was right on his coattails.
Twin boys. And the family would also welcome another son, Bobby, into the Corbin clan. So 3 boys.
That's probably a rambunctious household.
I was going to say that can't be easy, but honestly, I don't know. I think I might choose 3 boys over 3 daughters, considering we have 2 daughters, 3 daughters actually between us that are teenagers. And I feel like the girls are more difficult than our boys.
Man, you know, people talk about boys going to eat you out of house
They're
and
just
home.
expensive.
Girls that eat you out of house and home.
They will. And then on top of the food bill, they want you to buy them like makeup and clothes and shoes and new gadgets. And yeah, girls are pricey. And they're mouthy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You'll fight a little girl, won't you?
Nah, I just go lock myself in a room away from them.
But yes, it can be a handful.
Yeah,
That's
3
for
boys.
sure.
I mean, I just imagine if they're like kind of born within similar or kind of close proximity or whatever. You've got the twins. That's got to be difficult.
They're going to be rowdy
Attaboy,
and
yeah.
rambunctious
And
and
they
all
were.
that mess.
And we'll get to that here in a second. Bart and Bradley were inseparable. The pair were best friends. They dressed in matching outfits, shared a bedroom until they graduated from college.
Wow.
So the twins close. At 7 years old, Bart, his twin brother Bradley, and the rest of the family moved to Snellville, Georgia, which is near Atlanta. Their father started a chemical company.
Really?
Yeah. Growing up in the household with the 3 boys vying for attention, as you can imagine, loud. Some described Bart as having pseudo-Tourette's in his youth, a joke that the family shared because the 3 boys were boisterous, loud, fighting to be heard over top of one another.
Yeah, I have a loud household. Or I had a loud household with my kids. We were just a loud family.
No, it's still a loud family.
Oh.
And then you add in my brood as well.
We're boisterous.
We are a loud fucking family and obnoxious, and I have a feeling that people in public are like, what is wrong with this family?
Oh, yeah. I've got that look so many times. People just listen to us like tear each other apart,
Yeah.
team up. And it's like whoever's on the box is getting torn
Yes.
asunder by the other 3.
Yes, and people are horrified. Like, I can't believe this is the way you talk to one another in your family, but we think it's funny.
Well, I think it's preparing them for life.
We're raising kids with a thick skin.
That's right.
I hope. Either that or they're going to end up with some costly therapy bills at some point.
It's just in jest, and it's funny. We're just making fun of each other.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely people who feel like you need to be able to laugh at yourself and everybody else.
It's very important.
While at South Gwinnett High School, Bart was athletic. Now, when he was younger, like prepubescent and early teen years, he was a little chubby. He had a little bit of baby fat, which he kind of became obsessed with losing weight.
I
guess at some point, when he was like a young teen, somebody maybe made a comment about him being a little chubby or, oh, you got your baby fat. So he kind of becomes obsessed with working out and losing weight. He plays football, but he suffers from body dysmorphia and low self-esteem. He works out constantly, and that's a habit that's going to carry over into adulthood. He's always going to be very physically fit and into fitness and eating healthy and projecting this certain image. And though he was good looking and witty, girls paid him attention. Bart never quite felt good enough. Like, even though he was considered good looking and, are you okay?
Excuse me, sorry.
Even though he's considered good looking, nice body, athletic, he always feels like, oh, I'm just not attractive or hot enough.
Yeah, I've thought of when I think of body dysmorphia, and a lot of times these people look fine, and for whatever they think's wrong with them, they look fine to everyone else. And so no one really understands why they're acting like this or why they think these things, but they really truly feel it deep inside, and nothing can change their mind. And that must be just a terrible position to be in.
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
I'm not. Well, I'm not. I was just thinking about. I'm still trying to get rid of my baby fat.
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
No, I understand this. I feel like I have some body dysmorphia.
Yeah, because you're super cute and I love you, and you're really awesome, incredible, and you're really hard on yourself.
But yeah, I think people who, and especially if you have been maybe thinner, you gain weight, or you were once kind of a bigger person, you lose the weight. I think it can kind of toy with your mind a little bit.
Yeah, and it's something you probably think about every day.
Right, and this was definitely something that affected Bart. And from an early age, he was described as incredibly moody. His personality would be fine, and then he'd shift, kind of like a dark cloud was hovering over him. You kind of never really knew what to expect from Bart. Was he going to be happy Bart, or sad Bart, or pissed off Bart?
Uh-oh.
He also had a hair trigger temper.
Well, that's not a good combination.
No. Bart attended the University of Georgia, enrolling in pre-dentistry, and not only was Bart intelligent, but a natural athlete, and though he was very intelligent, he was a pretty mediocre student.
So he tries hard and gives it all he has, but he's just kind of middle of the road?
Yeah. And,
okay.
He's a bright guy, but for whatever reason, just wasn't maybe as measurable on paper.
Well, yeah.
Not so much.
Well, I think that's one of the components that's very wrong with our education system is the way they measure growth and measure, because I've known people like that. They're very smart, smarter than I was, and they just it didn't click for them in the classroom.
And maybe that was part of the issue, or maybe he just gave the minimum as far as being a student. I'm not really sure. But he was a natural athlete, and while he was at the University of Georgia, he walked on the football team as a defensive lineman.
Oh, wow.
You have to be pretty good to just walk on the team, right?
Oh, yeah, at that level?
Yeah. Bart loved the Georgia Bulldogs, and that's something that would carry over. Big Bulldogs fan. Go Dogs. College life was okay for Bart until just before graduation. His parents divorced. They waited till the boys were in college to separate. And this was difficult for him. I mean, as you can imagine, it's difficult anytime your parents divorce. But I imagine being older, it might impact you in a different way because you can understand the gravity of the situation. When you're 6 years old, maybe it's a little different. I mean, it's upsetting and there's that impact. But I think as an adult, you see the bigger picture.
Well, yeah.
Maybe you can look back and think, oh, maybe my parents were staying together for us kids.
Well,
and they didn't have a good marriage.
If you're old enough to consider those types of things, I think it could definitely impact you differently.
Yeah, and I think so. But the show must go on. In 1986, Bart enrolled in dental school at the Medical College of Georgia in Augusta. Dental school is no joke. It's a lot of hard work and study. And Bart seemed to be doing well in college, though some friends would later say he was immature, he had an unstable ego, and self-image problems.
Well, and that's just carrying over from the things what you've already described from his childhood.
Though he was handsome, some described him as a young Harrison Ford. And let's face it, young Harrison Ford, hot.
I'm compared to him all the time. I mean, it's embarrassing.
I know. That's why I had to have you.
Baby.
You young Harrison Ford, you.
I'm a reluctant actor.
Okay, Hans. And so Bart's, attractive. He's got abs of steel, but he still, kind of feels like the ugly duckling.
I say that's tough to understand when you see this guy. He's in real good shape and defensive end. You got to be built a certain way to play that position. So he's just kind of a tall guy, big shouldered, quick, athletic. And you see this guy in real good shape and stuff, but he still has this weird, like a picture of his own self, which is going to affect his attitude and how he reacts and to the other people. So it'd be hard to understand if your friend was like that or you knew someone like that.
In his second year of dental school, Bart meets Dorothy Hearn. Now, Dorothy is a beauty. She hailed from Washington, Georgia, born July 2nd, 1962. Dolly, as she was called, knew she wanted to be a dentist like her father. She had a magnetic personality, a very happy-go-lucky girl, and she had an idyllic childhood in Washington. The Hearns were like a big Southern family. They owned about 120 acres of farmland, lived in like the big old Southern house, always, laughter, joy, a lot of family gatherings, like just good old Christian country kind of family. But they had some money as well. I mean, her dad's a dentist.
Oh, wow.
So she, loved growing up like in this big family on this farm. She even had a pet peacock, which is kind of fun. She lived in this big old Southern house. She was afforded a lot of privileges that come with having money and a good family. She was popular, like throughout school, a majorette, a cheerleader, a pre-med major at North Georgia College, and then Dolly enrolled in graduate dental school at the Medical College of Georgia in Augusta.
Oh, wow. That sounds exactly like my life did not go.
Yes, I understand that.
Good for her.
Dolly loved her new life in Augusta. She visited home often, but settled into the demands of grad school, balancing her work and social life. She made friends, had fun, and soon was introduced to Barton Corbin. Some friends describe it as love at first sight. Bart was smitten with Dolly. She's a gorgeous brunette with a bright future, charming personality, and he becomes almost obsessed with her.
So, yeah, she sounded like she did have a, fairly good life, and we don't know all the ins and outs, what she dealt with growing up, but it also sounded like she was a hard worker, because, it's a lot of stuff to balance, and you can't be any academic slouch to get into medical school and do grad school and all that. So, just because some people look at someone who had a kind of privileged life growing up, but they still got to put a lot of hard work in.
Oh, definitely. But
yeah, it sounds like she did.
She had a really good, solid foundation support system.
Well, that helps.
Which does help.
It's like the Everlast said, where you end up usually depends on where you start.
That is true.
Oh, my God, that's so deep. Thank you, Whitey Ford.
Thank you for listening to our philosophy podcast. So anyway, Bart becomes fairly obsessed with Dolly, and she is beautiful. All the photos of her, they're definitely dated because it's the 80s, and she's got like the big 80s hair and the 80s clothes.
Oh, the 80s, man.
But she was awesome. Super pretty. She definitely was a beautiful girl. So he was a year older, meaning that he would graduate sooner than Dolly, but he knew right away that he wanted her to be Mrs. Barton Corbin. When he proposed marriage, Dolly was immediately uncomfortable. Up until this point, Dolly saw the relationship as kind of light, fun. It's a new thing. Just an experience to have.
So kind of like a Boys of Summer situation in her head.
Yeah, but Bart's hyper interested in her. And this makes her feel, like I said, uncomfortable. She begins withdrawing from him. Dolly still felt she was too young. She needed to finish dental school herself. She wasn't really interested in getting married yet. And Bart took this news fairly hard. Well, she's like, look, dude, I like you, but we should just be friends. He's not like that.
Well, yeah, when someone tells you that, you're in two different places in your head, or maybe your emotions are kind of running away with you a little bit. You just got to be like, okay, cool. And if you really like that person, you need to just have whatever, relationship you can, type of relationship you can. You can't make someone do something.
Right. And Bart takes this breakup really hard. He's jealous. He's fretting over Dolly, her every move, what she's doing. He's telling friends, like, she's seeing someone else. I mean, it just seems like not going well for him.
That's not a good look, bruh.
He would worry about, where she was, who she was with, is she seeing somebody? And when he saw her with another guy for the first time after the breakup, he lost his shit.
Really?
Yeah, he was not able to hold it together. I mean, friends said he was visibly shaken, upset, to the point of like almost being in tears. The pair reconciled briefly, but Dolly was swiftly reminded of why she had dumped him in the first place.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's not gonna help her want to be with you by acting freaking crazy, bruh.
So in November of 1989, she ended things for good. Dolly felt free once away from Bart. She wanted to focus on her studies, but within days of ending the relationship, strange things started happening.
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
She came home one day to find the windows in her home were open. Knowing she had not left them open, Dolly tried phoning police. Attempting to file a burglary report, officers dismissed her when they learned nothing had been taken from the apartment. So, like, okay, the windows are open, nothing's missing, and it doesn't really sound like a burglary. I mean, they just felt like, okay, she probably left the windows open as,
freaked herself out.
Forgotten or something. Exactly. Right. But after the break-in, Dolly found 2 of her tires slashed, and then her car was later vandalized. Her mailbox was broken into, and someone took her brand new business cards that she had ordered.
What the hell?
With all of this odd, stuff happening, Dolly suspected Bart. She knew that he wasn't handling the breakup well. On a visit to her parents' house around the Christmas holiday, Dolly confided in her father that she believed Bart was behind this harassment. Dr. Hearn handed his daughter a .38 Rossi revolver for protection, and during her visit, her dad would give her lessons on using the gun.
Yeah, see, this is, especially back in the day, I'm sure it's happened a lot. When you see these series of events, I think someone's been in my house, but I can't prove it, and then the vandalism, tire slash, this is escalating, and it's connected. But, I think, especially back then, I'm sure, and cops and investigators wouldn't take that seriously.
I think today it's the same.
Well, that's true. I just thought that. That's true. It happens every day. It happens every day in this country.
Yeah. Well, at some point, and I'm not sure exactly the details of the situation, Dr. Hearn confronts Bart. Now, I'm not sure if this was via a phone call or if this was an actual, in-person confrontation. But Dr. Hearn tells Bart, you need to stay away from my daughter.
Just leave her alone.
Leave her alone. She's not interested in you. If you bother her again, I'm going to kick your ass.
Okay.
Which is, let's face it, wouldn't most parents warn their child's ex if the person was being this extreme?
Well, yeah, because now you've scared my kid, and this is way beyond just, you guys having some kind of issue between you, and now I'm going to be mama or papa bear.
Exactly.
We're going to find out who's going to whoop each other's ass, dude.
Yeah,
we're going to find out.
That doesn't seem so off point for me.
No, it's a normal reaction.
Every parent would be like, quit fucking with my kid. Well, after the Christmas holidays, Dolly returns to campus, and she finds out that someone has stolen basically $1,500 in dental tools that belonged to her.
Okay.
And a pair of dentures that she needed for class, and those cost about $100. And a prosthodontic articulator, which is like another tool.
So basically, all her stuff that she uses for class, and it all sounds rather expensive for back then. And so someone's trying to mess her up.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to hijack her education. Desperately needing these items for her program, she's got to get them back, right? She confronts Bart about the items, and he plays coy. Like he has no idea what happened to her things.
Oh, yeah, what are you talking about? Oh, your tires got slashed? Huh. Damn.
Dolly explains to campus authorities what has been happening, ultimately accusing Bart of stealing her materials. Now, campus police exonerate Bart. Dolly has no evidence, just suspicion, and Bart is very cooperative with these authorities. So they're like, he seems like a good guy. We don't think he took your stuff. This just is an accusation. You don't really have anything to back it up. And by February, Dolly is dating again. And when Bart learns she's seeing someone new, he shows up at her apartment banging on the door. He's distraught, pleading. Friends have watched a decline in Bart since he was dumped. He confides in friends that he's just heartbroken. He even tells a buddy that he waited outside Dolly's apartment with a gun, but couldn't go through with killing her.
I'd be like, dude, you need to get some help. Don't do that. I mean, if you're the friend, how do you react to
that seems to be the way friends were reacting.
Your buddy saying that? Like, what the hell, bro?
Yeah. Shortly after this, Dolly attempts to prove that Bart is guilty of stealing her stuff and stalking her. She takes a tape recorder to campus and confronts him. Bart denies having stolen her dental tools, and he laughs it off, saying that, these accusations are ridiculous. I'm not stalking you. And he asks her several times during the conversation, "Are you recording this?"
My gosh, such strange behavior. Very obsessive. That's scary when someone's truly obsessed with someone.
Her cat Tabitha goes missing, then shows up later. She discovers hairspray in her contact solution.
What the? My God.
She spends the spring months on edge. Her anxiety is through the roof. She feels like she's being followed, watched, always waiting for the next bad thing to pop off. I mean, I can't imagine having to live that way.
Well, she's went from, had this great, good life, growing up,
happy-go-lucky,
hard worker, plotting out her future, and doing good in school, pretty, popular, to, everything's all, now I'm scared.
Always looking over your shoulder.
Afraid to go places, don't want to do things, always thinking about this, which is mentally exhausting. So, I mean, it's like her whole world's changed just because this guy can't let it go.
Her grades are suffering because she can't focus on studies, and she ends up with a 2.26 GPA for the semester.
That's not good, is it?
Well, it's not horrible, but for someone like Dolly, a perfectionist, ambitious, motivated, this is not good for her. I always say C's get degrees. I'd be happy with a 2.26 GPA.
Well, it's true. C's can get you to the presidency.
Then on June 6th of 1990, Dolly's roommate Angela returns to their apartment to find a grisly scene. Dolly is found on the couch with a bloody face and a .38 revolver in her lap.
Oh my God.
When a police officer arrives, he examines the scene and declares Dolly's death a suicide. There are no signs of forced entry. As a matter of fact, the doors and windows are all locked. I mean, it appears pretty cut and dry. Angela insists that the officer look into Barton Corbin. She explains Dolly's tumultuous relationship with Bart, and word travels fast through the dental school program. When friends tell Bart what has happened, they say he is clearly shaken. He's noticeably upset, he's crying, and just can't seem to wrap his head around what has happened.
Yeah, poor Bart.
Dolly's autopsy shows a single gunshot wound to the right temple, and though her death is ruled a suicide, her family and friends insist that Bart is responsible for her death. Now, playing devil's advocate here, I can see both sides of this. I can understand why her family is insistent. She wouldn't take her own life. He's responsible. This is what she's been telling us, leading up to this. But I've also known quite a few families that when they suffer the tragedy of a suicide, they try to make excuses or look for answers. It's so much easier for them at times to concoct a story of what they believe happened instead of just accepting that, my loved one was depressed, things weren't going well, they ended their life.
Well, it's tough. It happens a lot. And I've heard it in many true crime stories. The family just can't accept that their loved one has committed suicide, or just the fact that they would not only kill themselves, but, hurt the family by taking themselves away and all that. But, that's very...
I mean, we had a family friend that committed suicide, and his mother was convinced that he was murdered. But there was no, real evidence to suggest this. I mean, there were some, extenuating circumstances, things that have maybe happened. They're like, okay, but, there's no hardened proof that... So I just think a lot of times families can't reconcile those feelings or something.
Right. And so as from a police standpoint, you have the family saying, oh, there's no way, look into her, this ex of hers and all this. They could just be like, they just can't, This
Right.
is common for some families, just can't grasp it. So we're sad for them, but it's a suicide.
When Bart is interviewed by Augusta police, he speaks freely with the officers. Bart explains that, yes, he was deeply affected by their breakup. He says Dolly had been depressed, that she struggled with dental school, and was not doing particularly well. Bart claims that Dolly fabricated the stalking and harassment. Bart's like, look, I graduate in 3 days. She still has a year of school left. I'm not trying to bother this woman. And he also tells officers that Dolly's father made verbal threats against him back in December. So officers learn that, yes, Dr. Hearn did in fact threaten Bart. Well, they close the investigation because Bart's story lines up with what others have told them. That Dolly seemed distracted, her grades were slipping, and no one had witnessed any of the complaints that she had been lodging against Bart.
Oh my God, Bart's gaslighting like crazy, dude.
Are you sure, though? Because it could be a situation where
Well, no, but
maybe
it's
she is making this stuff up.
I'm not sure.
I'm just saying.
I'm not sure, but Bart it sounded like messing with her, so I'm just saying.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, Bart graduates from dental school 3 days after Dolly's suicide. In 1991, Bart begins an internship near his hometown and starts filling in as a substitute dentist for a while, saving up money to start his own practice. Bart's dental career maybe not going as well as he'd expected. Once he is out on his own, he has a patient in particular file a complaint to the state medical board against him and called him the dentist from hell.
Oh, it doesn't sound like Bart has a real good dental technique.
He doesn't have a good bedside manner, as they would call it. So patients and employees noticed Bart's erratic behavior. In the middle of procedures, he would jump up and run around the office like a chicken without a head, is how they described it.
Oh, that would be disconcerting if you were in the chair.
Well, he's quite a perfectionist, and he would stop mid-procedure to complain about things that were not going the way he wanted them to go. Or if he had ordered a bridge, for example, and is trying to place this in, he would get all frustrated and flabbergasted because the bridge, the piece wasn't designed the way he felt it should be, or he didn't think it was top quality.
Yeah.
So he would stop inserting implants and different things while a patient is there, in the chair, awkward, mouth wide open, under anesthesia, while the dentist is acting all crazy.
Yeah, again, that does not... I would not... If I was in that chair, I would be freaked out, dude, because I need at least an air of confidence and stuff, from people doing this, my medical professional.
Well, and some of this is serious dental surgery.
Yeah.
You've just had all of your teeth pulled, and then the doctor is acting like a nut, and here you are with your mouth gaping and no teeth. Is this person going to implant?
Yeah, I need you to put that stuff back.
Yeah,
though.
right? I mean...
If it's a centimeter off, we'll work it out.
Well, he was irritable. He was hateful, barking commands at employees. He would be rude to patients. His staff remained mostly temps as he couldn't retain steady employees. No one wanted to work for him because he was such a gaping asshole.
A gaping asshole? Oh, my God.
But somehow he managed to build a business with a steady clientele.
That's because dentists charge $2 million, dude. They just throw prices out. They just make it up. They'd be like, oh, it's going to cost $12,000.
See, I don't know why dental is considered separate from medical because it's all overall relating to health.
Don't get me started.
It should be grouped in together.
It should definitely not be. I mean, you take some that affects the entire body, your mouth, your tooth health, abscesses. All these things can affect everything, especially your overall well-being. So don't even get me started. I have no idea why it's separate. Maybe we'll dig that information and talk shit about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they make prices up like freaking lawyers, dude. Oh, it's gonna cost you $7,000. Why? Is there a price guide here? Oh my God. Dentists make bank, dude. They make so much money. Maybe you should have married a dentist like Bart.
Well, I'm rethinking my decision now.
Hey, get you an asshole dentist.
Yeah, I'd better than an asshole mill worker.
No, and if we have any dentists out there listening, I respect what you do, and it's a big deal.
I would personally not want to be digging around in people's nasty mouths.
No, but it really does.
So good for you.
It really is a big deal what they do.
It is,
some
totally.
High,
I
high
could
value.
never do that. It grosses me out to think about being in people's mouths. Ugh, gross. When Bart met Jennifer Barber, he was once again smitten. So Jennifer was a 6-foot-tall, striking blonde with an eternally optimistic personality.
I've got to say, baby, one thing, I wouldn't mind being in your mouth. Oh, baby. Dad jokes. Move along. So here we have a Miss Jennifer, another striking, beautiful woman.
Yes.
Okay.
She was a shift manager at Barnacle's Oyster Bar, and it was through a friend that the pair was introduced. So Bart meets her. Wowee, tall, blonde, gorgeous, always smiling, happy. So he starts frequenting the Oyster Bar, popping in to see Jennifer. Jennifer Monique Barber was born January 25th, 1971 in Kentucky, and her family moved to Lawrenceville, Georgia when she was young. In high school, Jennifer was a basketball superstar. She enrolled after high school at Savannah College of Art and Design, at SCAD, to study photography. She was always smiling, a nature lover, and Jennifer was just sort of like the all-American girl. Creative, fun, always fun to be around. Jennifer, 25, she was much younger than Bart at the time. I mean, he's 34, so there's like a 9-year age difference between the pair. But she had his attention, and the two become inseparable. After dating only a short time, he takes her to Italy for like a romantic vacation.
Ah, man, you ruined my surprise for you.
I know you. You're not like a planner. So the thought of Dylan like planning a romantic vacation is like the last thing that you would ever do.
Baby, we can go over there to Tennessee, get a hotel room. I bring the rose petals, bottle of wine from Walmart, and then put a big bow on me. And that's all I got on.
Well, if it's the 7 Moons,
yeah,
the $10 wine from Walmart, I'm okay with that because I love that stuff.
Okay, let's see how romantic that night sounds.
That doesn't sound romantic to me at all.
Yeah, by the airport.
You know what would be really romantic? If you bought me a lobotomy kit.
See, I know how you think, and I know what you want.
I know. Actually, while I was gone, I sent you the link to like a lobotomy set, and I was like, "Can you gift this to me? Since you never know what to get me, buy me this."
Yeah, I know. It was a real one, too.
That's like romantic in my mind. So anyway, he bought her lavish gifts. He treated her to these expensive dates, nice restaurants, pretty much wherever she wanted to go. And she loved the attention. I mean, she's receiving all of this attention from a very successful dentist. She's like, oh yeah. I mean, who wouldn't like being showered with gifts and attention?
So he's basically trying to woo her, sounds like.
Well, during the trip to Italy, Jennifer would get pregnant.
Oh.
Now, initially, Bart was unsure about the relationship. I mean, he enjoyed the pretty blonde's company, but he didn't really consider her, like, wife material.
Oh, so he wasn't trying to just nail her down instantly.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she'd been a good time, and of course, Bart thought she was gorgeous, but he also felt she was really young, immature. She didn't really have any plans for the future. So after some soul-searching and discussions with his family, Bart decided the right thing to do would be propose to Jennifer.
Okay.
They have a fairy tale wedding. Bart and Jennifer tied the knot on September 1st, 1996. And from what I understand, I mean, it was a very lavish, like, fairy tale kind of wedding.
So he's going all out.
Right.
spending money left and right. But now he has his woman. It sounds like that's what Bart's wanted the whole time.
Well, about 6 months later, the couple welcomes their first son, Dalton, on March 12th, 1997. Now, the newlyweds, brand new parents, they're happy. Jennifer begins doing charity work. Bart's practice is thriving. Everyone who knows the couple sees this picture-perfect family. And by spring of 1998, Jennifer is once again pregnant. People describe Jennifer as a super mom. Like, her whole world revolves around Dalton. And the promise of this new baby is very exciting. Like, she's cut out to be a mom. She's loving it. On January 18th of 1999, Dylan is born.
Oh, what a cool name! I bet that kid's
such a 90s name.
Kid's gonna
We
really.
have like the quintessential 90s names. Heather and Dylan. We're like the character from 90210 or some shit.
Oh my God!
So the couple soon moves their new family into a palatial 2-story brick home at 4515 Bogan Gates Drive. This is a very wealthy area, subdivision, big, nice, like McMansions.
Wow, sounds cool. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, like
I guess.
nice, big homes. And the couples are living the dream. They buy a houseboat where they drink, they party with friends. The Corbins love entertaining, so they are known to like always like have parties and get-togethers, have friends over to the boathouse, game nights, football games. I mean, they're just,
I want to do some of that.
Well, get some friends.
Yeah, I have some friends.
You do.
I have two.
But all you guys want to do is like stand around and talk about meat.
It's like stand outside of the person.
It's like you guys are like the dads, the quintessential dads. It's like they stand around and their conversations are like, man, I got these pork chops a couple weeks ago. And then they go into like how they prepared the pork chops and the like grilling and smoking process. And it was like an 8-hour ordeal. But man, those pork chops were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like Dylan hanging out with his friends.
Drinking in somebody's
I was
driveway.
going to say, it's either that, like talking about meat and the preparing of meats.
The preparation is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a nice brine going.
Yes.
Put them in there about 3 hours.
It's either that or you guys are drinking moonshine and you get shit-faced. And then they laugh at you because you can't handle your liquor.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
Right. So that's what I witnessed. Those are the two scenarios when I know Dylan's hanging out with his friends.
And I don't understand why you don't want to go hang out with my friends and me more.
Well, I love hanging out with your friends.
I mean, you make fun of me too.
Yeah, I know. That's why I love hanging out with your friends, because the three of us can gang up on you.
And then you drive me home.
After you like throw up in the yard, then I put you in the car, drive you home, and have to take care of you.
Oh, thank you. But I don't really drink like that.
To
usually.
like hold your hair for you so you can throw up in the trash can.
You would.
He's 42, y'all. Living life like a college girl.
So they're just living it up.
They're living it up. They're a young married couple. They got money. They have access. They can buy like fucking houseboats and shit.
Okay.
They throwing down. By age 3, Bart has Dalton in sports, playing both football and basketball. He coaches Little League.
Wait, the 3-year-old's playing basketball?
Yeah, he's got him playing sports.
Where the shit in hell they have 3-year-old basketball at?
Oh, they do.
The ball's bigger than the kids.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. Like, I remember when my daughter played soccer when she was very, very young, and the kids basically just stand around, like, watching the ball.
Yeah, it's like T-ball.
It's really cute.
Yeah. My son, I had him in soccer very early on, and he was just like, nah, I'm not doing this. And I'll never forget, we had a little soccer game, and it's basically like what you're describing, but there was this little girl out there, like, crying because she wanted to come out. And she was like hurt or so tired or whatever, you know. And he would not sub in to let her come sit out. He was just over there like drinking some Gatorade, kicking it with us.
Like, I remember when my daughter
refused
had
to go
a
back
dance
in.
recital. It was like her ballet recital, and she's like 3 or 4. She's like tiny. And she's just like up there, like she cried before going out on stage, and then she's up there like not participating.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So all the like photos of my kid participating in like dance or soccer or sports,
scowling.
she's like scowling and has her arms crossed, or she's like covering her face, that kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah. So I imagine that's probably what was going on here. But, he's coaching Little League and, like, trying to be involved in his son's, sports. But one thing that the parents note is that Bart is completely, like, intolerant and impatient. He calls the kids losers, crybabies, whiners.
Oh my gosh, dude.
He was Donald Trump before Donald Trump. He has zero patience. Though Bart seemed to rule with tough love kind of approach, Jennifer, she was like all love all the time. So they definitely had conflicting parenting styles.
And sometimes that can kind of work. The kids will get something from both parents and the parents kind of even each other out. I mean, sometimes I've seen parents like
so
that.
At these sporting events, Jennifer's like high-fiving her son, hugging him, like everything you do is
Your dad's
amazing.
Like, you're a little dick.
And Dad's like, what the hell? You suck. You're supposed to dribble the ball.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, son Dalton seemed to have a noticeable fear of Bart. Like, everyone notices that he doesn't seem to be, like, Dad's number one fan. Now, every summer, the couple takes cruises. They go to Italy, the Caribbean. They have a lot of friends. They live in this posh home. They drive new cars. It seems life is charmed. In November of 2002, Bart signs a quitclaim deed giving Jennifer the house. And this is something that's kind of strange and unusual. And over the course of their marriage, they will switch ownership of properties back and forth to each other.
Okay. Sounds like somebody maybe is hiding money or assets.
Well, no one really understands why they would do this. So he quitclaims the home to Jennifer, the houseboat, everything's in her name. Jennifer, when they move into this new home, she befriends her neighbor Kelly. The two gals, they have like girls' nights. It includes heavy drinking, like playing loud country music. So Jennifer's got her best friend living next door, and they are hanging out quite a bit. Jennifer's volunteering at her son's daycare. They adore her at the daycare. They just think she's awesome. She's very active. She does like PTA. She devotes herself full-time to being a mom. Life seems great, right?
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Oh, wait. Hold up.
Wrong. Hold on. Wait, what?
Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me that Bart is an asshole?
Can you guess that he is?
I'm going to say that he is.
Okay.
He looks like an asshole.
Well, Bart's having an affair with Jennifer Gardner. That was the name in the book. Now, I'm not sure if they changed this name or if this was truly her name. But it was a woman who was his dental secretary.
Oh, Bart.
The pair only have sex in the office, never at each other's house. And it's not like they are seeing each other outside of work, like dating. He's basically just fucking his secretary.
That's so cliche.
I know. Bart is still obsessed with his appearance. He encourages Jennifer to get back into shape after the birth of their second son. He buys her a treadmill. She starts the Atkins diet. She's dieting, exercising. Jennifer jokes with her friends that she's having a midlife crisis.
Okay.
By 2004, Jennifer seems to be in a funk, though. She stops taking care of herself. The once stylish dentist's wife begins wearing sloppy clothes. She's not taking care of the house. She's spending a lot of time online, especially playing a computer game, EverQuest.
Oh, wow.
Well, I looked it up, and
so 90s.
EverQuest is a fantasy role-playing game, and you can interact with other players.
Yeah, I think it's like a predecessor to things like World of Warcraft and some of these bigger games that came on down the road. But it's definitely that type of game, I think, where you can lose yourself. You can really get, and just spend hours doing it. So, I mean, I think, sometimes people use stuff like that to kind of escape reality.
Let's pause for a moment, Dylan, and take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. In June of 2004, Bart confronts Jennifer about how much time she is spending on the internet. Jennifer has stopped going to the long-standing football Sundays at Bart's parents' house. She, isn't cleaning the house up. She's not as active in her kids' school and daycare anymore. I mean, it's noticeable changes in Jennifer.
Well, it sounds like Jennifer may be depressed.
Well, she asked him for a divorce.
Ah, so she's totally over it.
She tells Bart she's unhappy in the marriage and no longer wants to be with him. Jennifer moves out of the master bedroom. She cuts her hair short. Her behavior is morose. She spends most of her time online. Her sons are no longer like seeming to be the center of her world that they once were. She stops being active with the boys. And finally, she tells Bart she wants to move out of the house. And Bart tells her that's fine as long as she can pay for it.
Well, Bart, it don't work like that, bro. She's been at home raising the kids, having the kids while you were off getting the money. So we're going to get some of that money.
So in September of 2004, Jennifer gets a job as a preschool teacher at the Methodist church where her sons were attending preschool. Because, they love her. They think she's great. And Bart tells Jennifer she can stay in the house with the boys and that he'll find another place to live.
Ah, Bart's all about control.
However, the next argument the couple has, Bart tells her she can live in their house as long as she can pay for it. So he's like holding the finances over her head.
Such a classy move. I mean, if anything's going to help this situation, it's trying to belittle her and make her feel like she can't accomplish it without you. Good move, Bart.
What Bart does not know is during Jennifer's internet gaming, she's met someone else.
I knew it. She met somebody's avatar and fell in love.
Just after their 8th wedding anniversary, while playing EverQuest, Jennifer meets a guy online named Christopher Hearn.
He was a mage with some incredible abilities.
Which is interesting because, remember, Bart's college girlfriend was Dolly Hearn.
Oh, what's the odds of that?
I know, right? Well, the pair end up chatting online daily, which evolves, basically, into Jennifer confiding into this internet friend about her bad marriage. The pair begins emailing constantly, and then they end up having cyber sex.
Ooh, with the cameras and everything. So this is early in the internet, right?
I'm going to insert my 3.5-inch floppy into your disk drive.
Oh, damn, you're so dirty.
Your hard drive.
Yeah, don't you forget to scrub it.
Ooh. Yeah, look at my motherboard.
Oh, my God.
Your circuit, my motherboard.
Oh, you got so many bits.
Is that what
I don't know,
cyber
is that a
sex
thing?
is?
No, I'm gonna guess.
You better make sure it's protected. You don't want to get any of those viruses.
Oh, see,
But,
oh my gosh, you're such a dirty, dirty program.
Oh, well, Jennifer.
No, so I'm gonna guess maybe they're up to webcams, but at the very least they're sexting in the early form of it. Talking.
Well, that's nothing new. It seems that the internet is a playground.
Maybe they're rubbing their little characters together.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But in modern times, this wasn't that long ago.
Hey, and there's nothing wrong with this. If this is what gets you,
But there's a lot of people out there who meet someone on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and they're like messaging, and it's like an emotional affair that turns into something physical.
You know what? I honestly think that it is because the way it starts and the way you communicate sometimes can be more intense and more. Well, Bart's an asshole, obviously, but more disrespectful to your partner because it develops like backwards. It's not, instead of you meet them at a bar and you happen to have a physical relation, and then you start talking, and build the emotional contact. It's like the emotional bond
is up front,
and then you work backwards.
Yes,
from it, and I think could in some respects be a deeper relationship and more disrespectful to your partner if you're still with your partner. Does that make sense?
No, it absolutely makes sense. Dylan.
Yeah, not that getting drunk and making some mistake in the physical world that's horrible. You shouldn't do that, obviously. But I mean, you can almost see. Yeah, but when you're talking to someone every day, multiple times a day.
Right. Well, I've had that conversation with friends. Is it worse to have the physical affair or the emotional affair? And it's interesting because of my friend group, which is fairly mixed, a lot of my male friends are like, oh, well, I would be more upset with the physical relationship, the sex.
Yeah.
But my female friends are mostly like, no, the emotional relationship would bother me way more.
Well, I think that's just men and women shows how men and women.
But I do have some male friends that are like, no, like the emotional relationship would bother me because there's feelings there.
Yeah, I personally feel that way. I would be harder if I did want to move forward and stay together with this person. It would be harder to get over the emotional aspect than it would the physical aspect.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Because you can go soak her in the tub for about 10 hours and some Epsom salt, and you're good to go. Oh, the way you're looking at me.
Yeah, I was just thinking I could bleach and Lysol your genitals, Dylan.
Yeah, you could just scrub it down, get
with
some
a
of
wire
that
brush.
with the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser glove. That's what that's for.
Well, Jennifer's obsession with Christopher, the internet boyfriend, grows. I mean, she tells him she loves him. She wants to be with him. In her journal, she's describing the feelings she has for this online stranger and is detailing about her failing marriage to Bart. During the course of 3 months, the internet romance blossoms, and they exchange over 1,000 emails in 3 months' time.
Oh my God! And I know this. It's just so they're going over the top in these emails, talking and professing their love and feelings for each other. I mean,
sounds like you've done this before.
No, it's just I've seen it. I've not done this directly, but you see it, and then you hear about it. And it's just like you almost actually discussed this with someone I work with not long ago. People act like someone they're not. They say things they never would in a personal interaction with a person. I don't know if it's trying to impress the people or just because it's just words is all you have to work with. But yeah, I think people get way carried away when they're having these text relationships or email relationships.
On September 24th, Bart demands that Jennifer quit claim the house deed to him. He then buys a bright yellow Mustang. So, I mean, who's really having the midlife crisis?
So, bruh, she's got ownership of the house at this time. Sole ownership. Why don't you just sell the damn thing?
There is constant fighting between Bart and Jennifer during this time. Now, at some point during the fall, Jennifer discovers Christopher is not who he asserts himself to be online.
No.
Jennifer learns that Christopher, her Missouri-based internet boyfriend, is actually a married woman named Anita. She's been catfished the whole time.
Damn.
Jennifer's devastated.
Oh my God, poor thing. I mean, she's been confiding in this person, developing, emotional bonds and some kind of an attachment and maybe fantasizing about this guy, because she's obviously over this marriage with Bart, and just that's devastating.
Bart, who is no stranger to infidelity, in the midst of his own affair, begins suspecting Jennifer. He notices the signs, so he begins looking for information on Jennifer's lover. He searches the house, the car. He suspects she's cheating. When Jennifer discovers her online lover is not who she believed he was, she's confused and distraught. She had fallen so deeply in love with Christopher, shared her innermost feelings and secrets. This person was also a married mother with children. So Jennifer cries herself to sleep on the first night after learning that Chris is actually Anita. But she decides her feelings are real. And though the relationship was built on a lie, Jennifer knew her love was real.
Oh, wait.
Person.
Hold up. Jennifer's about to make it happen, huh?
Well, by Thanksgiving, Jennifer and Anita are planning to meet in person.
So they're going to scrapbook together.
Jennifer told Anita in graphic detail how they would consummate their relationship when they finally met. So yes, Dylan, they'll be doing some scrapbooking, perhaps some scissoring.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's a great joke.
Anita will stick her stamp in Anita's ink pot.
Yeah.
For scrapbooking purposes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me, I bet
they're going to listen to the Indigo Girls.
There's going to be like
tickle each other's fancies.
Showers and pillow fights and panties. Don't you just love that word, panties? Yeah, you hate that word.
No, that's why I wear bloomers with the ruffles around my ankles.
And just all the cliche things that guys who make movies over all these years think women do together.
Yeah.
And it's not. Or do they? Well, tell me right now, do women have pillow fights? and sleepovers and like put lingerie on and hang out together?
Well, the only person that I ever smashed in the face with a pillow was you.
Okay.
Yeah. No, and one of my best friends is bisexual, and I would always get these stupid remarks from other people, and I even had a guy I dated that would always ask me, like, so when you guys are together, are you like fooling around? And I'm
Why
like,
can't we just be friends?
yeah.
Bro?
I'm like, no.
It's no different than having a guy friend.
Yeah,
or
like just because my friend likes women, that doesn't mean that I am going to suddenly like women, or that she and I, like, when we're
Right.
together, we're going to be like fucking in the shower. I mean, no, we're like shopping and doing all the normal things that we would do.
Yeah, stuff I would do with my friend, bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah, chill out.
So, I mean, yes, sometimes we would lounge around in our lingerie together, but
Really?
yeah.
Oh.
But that's just because we were both performing burlesque. Ha ha.
Ah.
Shazam. Okay, so Thanksgiving, they're planning on meeting in person. They're talking about, boom chicka wow wow.
Oh, so they're
I'm gonna kiss you all over and tweak your nipples, or whatever they're talking about, right?
yeah. So Jennifer's went from having this, ending a relationship basically, and over this relationship with Bart, to falling in love and confiding with this Chris Hearns, a guy on the line
On the line.
and then to finding out that person is not who they say they were, a different gender, a woman.
Right, and Jennifer had never really, I guess, contemplated being in a relationship with a woman, but she just feels such a genuine connection to Anita that she's willing to forego all of that. Like, I just love this person.
So to being devastated, she found
good for
out.
her.
Yeah, found
Good for
out
her.
that Chris is a woman. To, I don't care. I connected
wanna
and I
be
love
with
this
this
person
person.
anyway. Oh my gosh, she's kind. I mean, there's a lot going on in this woman's head.
Good for her.
Good. I mean, good for her.
I know. That's how I feel. I'm like, just be happy, girl.
You make it happen, girl.
Thanksgiving 2004 was filled with awkward tension.
Between Bart and Jennifer.
Oh, of course.
Oh my God,
So-
why are they still around each other?
Well, that's a good question, Dylan.
God.
I know other people, and I look at their weird failed relationship and think, why were they around each other?
Wait, is she looking at somebody behind me?
The Corbins celebrated with Jennifer's sister, who lived in Dawsonville, Georgia. Now, Jennifer's her usual bubbly self. She's just happy to be around family. The boys are playing with their cousins, and Bart is pouting downstairs in the basement for the duration of the holiday meal.
Oh my
So
God.
by 6 p.m., Bart is ready to go, and he demands that they leave. Now, Jennifer, sensing where this could go, she loads up the kids to return home. And when they return back to Buford, where they live, Jennifer stopped off at a grocery store to pick up a few odds and ends. So while Bart is left unattended in Jennifer's car, he starts snooping around.
Uh-oh.
Now, my thing is, I don't believe in snooping through my partner's things because I always feel like you're just asking. You're just asking for it.
Well, if you feel like you need to, you're already...
Exactly.
Your relationship's toxic in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I feel that people still, just because I'm with you, I don't own you.
Right.
And you still have a right to privacy.
Yes.
I've been with you for over 2 years now. I've never once looked through your phone. I might pick it up and, use it for something. But if a text come up, I literally look away and, clear that off. If it's between you and your kids or friends or whatever, it's not my right to dig through your stuff. You still have a right to privacy. So, no, I've never snooped.
I agree,
believe
and I
that.
feel like when you start snooping around, the likelihood is you might find something that you don't want to know. I mean...
Are you hiding something from me?
No, I just
No,
mean
that's
in-
basically what you're saying.
I just mean in general.
No, you're just like, if you look through my stuff, you're going to find something you don't like because I'm sexting like 9 people.
Well, I mean, there's that, but I was also thinking about, like, I had a friend that started snooping through her partner's, things, and she started finding, like, some very, I guess, odd or what she felt like was unusual pornography, and, like, it was disturbing to her, and I'm like, well, then what the fuck are you doing looking through this person's shit?
Oh, well, I thought you said she was going to find, like, evidence of cheating or something, but no, that's his business.
Right.
That's
I
her
mean,
business.
if he wants to watch clowns having relations with a rubber chicken and you find that weird, well, That's his thing. Let him look at it, okay?
Is that really what the porn was?
I will not confirm or deny. I'm just saying.
No, but he hasn't shared that with you because he knows you enough to.
My girlfriend is not going to be into watching Bubbles the clown, and is not a ballooner. It doesn't have a lunar fetish.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So, okay, well, some things are better left unsaid. So just let your man watch Bozo the Clown in the closet, right? Getting spanked.
Yeah, now you know why he insists on going to the circus every year.
Yeah, just let it be, right? So that's why I just don't go digging through people's shit, because I feel like you're always probably going to end up finding something that maybe you didn't need to know.
I see what you're saying.
I don't even mean like somebody cheating. I just mean like
you're not even found what you
might find some weird shit that you just didn't need to find. So
I got you.
Leave it be.
I got you. So here goes Bart snooping.
Yep.
And it's probably not going to work out for Bart.
Yeah, so, he's snooping around, and Jennifer happened to have left her purse in the car, and Bart finds a poem in her purse, and it was a romantic poem that she'd gotten via an email.
And she printed it out?
Yeah.
Damn, girl, she want to take it with her?
She did.
Talking about rose petals and, like, buttercream?
Yep.
Oh, my God. I thought he found, like, receipts from the scrapbooking store and, like, all the supplies in the back of the car.
Well, when Jennifer returns to the car, she's confronted by an angry Bart. He's in the passenger seat, screaming at her about this affair, and Jennifer just cranks the car up to drive home. And this enrages Bart, because she's not acknowledging him.
She's just brushing him off.
Right.
Like, I'm not even trying to hear this.
He punches her in the face.
Oh.
Now, the two boys are in the back seat, so they witness the whole thing. And Dalton, the older of the two, is hysterical. He's crying, and he's afraid of his dad. Now, as they come to a stop in the driveway of their home, Bart quickly jumps into his own car, and he drives away. Now, Jennifer is trying to get herself together. She's just been punched in the face.
Yeah.
Her kids are in the back seat, screaming, crying. She's got to, like, get the boys in the house. I'm sure she's very, like, flustered. She calls her dad. And she decides it's probably best if she goes back to her sister's house and stays there until she can decide what to do next.
That's a good call. You need to get away from it, get some distance between you, because it sounds like he's crossed a line he's never crossed before at this point.
Now, on Monday, November the 29th, 2004, Bart, knowing that Jennifer has taken the kids, gone to her sister's house, he files for divorce.
Okay.
In the pleadings, Bart demands full custody of the boys and ownership of the property and assets, including the house.
And the house is still quick deeded to her name.
Well, now it's been quick deeded to him. The quit claim deed.
Oh, she shouldn't have done that, bro. She shouldn't have done that.
So the next day, Bart drives to his friend's house, a guy named Richard Wilson, who lives in Alabama. And Bart explains to Richard that Jennifer is having an affair, and he fears she is dangerous. Wilson lends Bart a .38 Smith & Wesson. Now, little did Bart know, while this is happening, his son is at school telling people that he's afraid his dad is going to kill his mom.
Oh, my God. That's gonna create a situation.
Kids say the darndest things.
Oh, yeah. Well, but, this poor kid's witnessed this. He's, had reason to kind of be afraid of his dad. It sounded like his dad was very overbearing. His dad's a big guy, big, tall guy, and kind of rough with him. And now he's seen his dad just all full out hit his mom. Probably been a lot of fighting and tension in the house. So, this poor kid.
Jennifer was back at home on December the 1st. Now, she was assuming kind of like business as usual until she could find another place to live. And after all, it's the boys' home. They needed their things for school. It just seemed more logical for her to be living in the home with the boys.
Right.
Than trying to live out of a suitcase at family's house.
Well, she's been living in this strange tension, kind of sharing this space with Bart. So I understand her coming back. She's like, I can deal with this a little bit more, till I get things figured out.
Well, that morning, Jennifer finds her purse on the bedroom floor, and the contents are scattered all about. And this includes a new cell phone, a credit card that Bart wasn't supposed to know about, and some personal papers. So she knew that Bart had been prowling. Now, as she finds this, Bart is in the shower, getting ready, for his workday. So Jennifer storms into the bathroom, and she confronts Bart about her purse. He flies into a rage. Now, he's only wearing a towel because he's finishing up the shower. He grabs a towel, and then he leaves the house wearing only the towel.
Okay.
Jennifer's yelling at him while he's like leaving the house, and she's threatening to call 911 because he takes her new cell phone. As Bart is pulling out of the driveway, Jennifer is on the phone with the 911 dispatcher. Bart, as I said, he's taken her phone. So she's shouting and demanding, you need to give me back my phone. And the operator is hearing this entire ordeal. And then the operator hears Jennifer start screaming, "No, no, no."
Oh, my God.
And Bart reverses the car, and he drives over Jennifer's foot.
What the hell?
So the 911 operator hears the incident. They can hear a child crying in the background. Jennifer's sobbing. But when police arrive, Jennifer refuses medical treatment, and she doesn't want to press charges. So they can't really do much at this point.
They can't.
Because she's refusing to cooperate with them.
Yeah, and that's the basis of everything. Now, laws nowadays have passed some, or states rather, have passed some individual laws like, the state can take it up. The state can press charges because they get, tired of the back and forth between some people. But yeah, there's nothing they can do if she doesn't want to press charges.
Right, so the police leave. Well, after this incident, Jennifer and Bart try to play nice. I mean, both agree that this situation has escalated like way out of hand, and for the boys' sake, they need to make an effort to be civil.
Well, and it gets very emotional with the relationship, and you've been together for years, you got kids, assets, all that tied together. It's a very emotional thing, and you're not always going to be rational. But it's good if they take a moment and look, this is getting out of control. What about the kids? Let's figure this shit out. Just sell everything and split it, bruh. It's not that hard to do.
Troubled by these events, Jennifer tries to carry on, but she still is anxious. She's Christmas shopping, hanging with her girlfriends, and she's still planning to have that secret rendezvous with her internet girlfriend, Anita.
Oh, so they still haven't met in person?
Mm-mm. So she's still oh my God. She's still got her own thing going on, trying to resume life as normal.
She can't stop thinking about it.
You can't stop thinking about it.
No, she's like, oh man, she's carrying the poem. She printed the poem out so she could keep it with her.
When I met you, I would print out all of your texts so I could keep them with me.
You a damn lie.
It's true.
She printed it out and had it in her purse so she can pull it out and read it over and over and over again during her day.
When in doubt, whip it out.
She can't stop thinking about it. Okay?
Well, good for her.
Good for her.
I want something I can't stop thinking about in my life.
Let's wrap this thing up, girl, and I'll get ready for work.
Okay, cool. I'm accepting internet boyfriends and girlfriends.
Hey, wait a minute.
Kidding. Email me. mountainmurderspodcast@gmail.com. Dylan works a lot.
I don't snoop.
Okay, so on December, he doesn't, so it'd be perfect. If I was any other person with a different moral compass, Dylan, you would be in trouble.
Well,
It's lucky for you that I'm such a good fucking loyal wife.
Well, that's why I'm still here.
And I'm your ride or die.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would never hurt you in that way.
I'm not doing that shit.
I love you.
I love you too, and I don't think about anybody but you.
It's true.
Ever.
I don't think about anybody. Well, I might think about Jason Momoa sometimes.
Well, I'm just saying I don't even think about Jason Momoa.
When I'm in the shower. On December 4th, 2004, Kelly and Steve Como, who are the neighbors and friends of the Corbins, they wake up to a loud knocking at the door.
So it's like her bestie next door, kind of?
Yeah, so
okay.
Kelly and Jennifer are like best friends. I mean, since Jennifer moved into this house, she and Kelly, they're doing the girls' nights, weekends, they're drinking, they like to listen to country music, they get rowdy, they hang out at the lake. So yeah, this is like her best friend. So the best friend and her husband, they get this knock on the door, and it's 7-year-old Barton Corbin on their doorstep. He tells the couple that something is wrong with his mom.
Oh my God.
Kelly, who's Jennifer's closest friend, runs to the house to see what's the matter. In the master bedroom, Kelly finds her friend Jennifer slumped in the bed. She's dead. Jennifer has a gunshot wound to the back of her head. A .38 caliber is tucked into the bed alongside her, and there's an empty glass of wine sitting on the nightstand.
A gunshot wound to the back of her head?
Mm-hmm.
That's very strange.
Underneath Jennifer's shoulder is a stack of paperwork relating to the divorce.
Okay.
Now, initially, first responders believe it's a suicide. An investigator thought the evidence suggested that Jennifer was upset about the impending divorce and killed herself. However, there were some things that just didn't make sense. The location of the firearm and the positioning of Jennifer's body were unusual. Also, there was like a comforter kind of laying on top of her body. And the biggest shock was that this caring mother would kill herself with her 2 children in the house.
Yeah, to be discovered by her children.
And investigators just didn't think that seemed right.
But it doesn't mean it couldn't happen. I mean, if someone is to that point or something, you can't know what's going through their head and things of that nature. And I've actually heard of statistics that women are less likely to shoot themselves and to do it inside their home because they actually contemplate the aftermath. And
well, yeah, because women are thinking about like someone's going to have to clean this up.
No, I'm not even being like sexist or nothing. They really do think about their home like that.
Yeah,
they don't want to make a mess. They don't want to cause a big fuss forever. You know what I mean?
Right. Women don't want to like burden other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's just our nature is we don't want to have to ask for help or burden others. And so the thought of someone having to come in and clean up your mess.
Right.
Like that's just not something
or being found like this.
Totally.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, Dalton tells a 911 operator that his dad was at their house the night before, and he says he's the one who killed my mom.
Poor kid.
I mean, wow. Such a bold statement coming from a 7-year-old. Pretty shocking. Almost immediately, law enforcement tracks down Dr. Corbin. Bart is at his brother's house, and he says he's been out with friends the night before. He was drinking, and he came to his brother's house to sleep it off. Bart agrees to speak with police, and he shows up with an attorney.
Oh, well, that's not necessarily. I mean, I can understand if you're a moneyed person and you have this money and you kind of have a lawyer who's your lawyer on retainer, things like that, and being nervous about what's going on. I mean, that's not the end of the. I mean, that's not totally proof of wrongdoing to show up with your lawyer. It's not, especially when you consider statistics. Hey, they always suspect the spouse or the man, the husband, whatever.
Bart's brother and friends refuse to speak to police or give a statement, which they find unusual.
Okay.
Now, during the interview, Bart didn't seem too emotional about his wife's death. He mostly sat there quietly, and he didn't have any blood or physical evidence like on his person. They didn't find any defensive wounds on his body, as if there had been any kind of struggle, and he tested negative for gun residue.
So even his friends he was supposedly with, and then he went to his brother's where he was the rest of the time, they won't give any statements or cooperate at all.
No.
That's very strange.
Bart didn't provide any information about Jennifer's death. Dalton admits during his interview that he never actually saw his dad shoot his mom.
This kid is so scared of his dad that in his mind, if anything happened to his mom, his dad's responsible.
Yes.
That's sad.
Investigators have nothing much to go on, but they get a trace on the gun, and they find it was sold in the mid-1950s at a Birmingham, Alabama, like hardware store.
Okay.
So they know this is an old gun. It's not a new purchase. So they're kind of able to figure out somehow Bart or Jennifer was able to get this gun from Alabama. So that's kind of an odd, like, where did the gun come from? The Comos, the neighbors who knew the Corbins, and Kelly, she found Jennifer, they were questioned. Well, Steve, the husband, tells officers around 1:30 a.m. on the morning of Jennifer's death that he saw Bart pull into the driveway. Bart went inside the Corbin house for about 30 minutes, and then he saw Bart leave. Now, the medical examiner thought Jennifer died between 2 and 3 a.m. Jennifer had no alcohol in her system. So the original notion that after a night of drinking, a depressed Jennifer shot herself kind of begins dissipating. Also, Jennifer's brainstem had been severed by the bullet, so she had lost all motor function. There was no way that she could have shot herself and then placed the gun under the bedding.
So, well, I'd be surprised if you could do that anyway after shooting yourself. But what they're saying is as soon as the bullet penetrated the spine, she wouldn't be able to, her arm would not move. It wouldn't even follow. I mean,
Right.
okay.
Investigators start building a case against Bart Corbin. The law enforcement officers, they get a phone call from a woman who says her daughter went to dental school with Bart. So she tells them her daughter is Dolly Hearn and that Dolly had been Bart's girlfriend and had died in an unusual, similar circumstance, a suicide.
Wow.
This news rocks investigators. Jennifer and Dolly's deaths were eerily similar, and this troubles detectives. What's the likelihood?
And the Hearn family had never gotten any closure, never felt like, their daughter got justice, and they're just, boom, they're right there as soon as this happens.
Augusta detectives were asked to reopen their case. So during a re-examination, a blood pattern analysis expert, basically Dexter, tells investigators that there's no way Dolly Hearn could have been shot in the position that she was found. Also, a witness came forward describing having seen a man in Dolly's apartment on the day she was found dead. And the man fits Bart's description.
Well, damn, guys. We could have talked about this years ago.
A closer look at the gun found it had been wiped clean and staged in Dolly Hearn's hands. Detectives in Augusta realize they've got a case against Dr. Corbin. Investigators in Gwinnett County are also diving into Bart's history, and they soon realize that Jennifer was unhappy in her marriage. She was having an affair. There was a lot going on, and that Bart had similar motives for killing the two women, which was rejection.
He doesn't do well with rejection.
No.
No, not at all.
Against the barber's wishes, Bart had Jennifer cremated after she died.
So, that's the spouse's call, typically in most states. But yeah, unless your child had said, hey, when I pass, I want to, be cremated, or I want this to happen, it would be suspicious that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she's cremated. Not only that, but it's typically done very quickly.
Yes.
So yeah, that's not cool.
Evidence is mounting against Bart. A murder indictment is drawn up against Bart, and his friends are subpoenaed from the night of Jennifer's murder. Now, it seems that Bart had met up for dinner and drinks at the Wild Wings Cafe in Sewanee, which is just outside of Atlanta, but that he ducked out early. Now, his brother admitted that Bart didn't arrive at the house until about 3:30 a.m., which gave Bart plenty of time to kill Jennifer. Investigators also find cell phone records showing Bart's phone pinged on a tower that was by his house that he shared with Jennifer at about 1:45 a.m. So this substantiates the neighbor's claim that Bart was at the house around 1:30 a.m.
Oh my God, dude.
Bart is arrested for Dolly's murder on December 22nd, 2004. And on January 5th, 2005, Bart is charged with murdering his wife, Jennifer.
As he should be, it sounds like.
Now, just before the trial, cell phone records also show that Bart had driven to Alabama about a week before the murder to visit his friend Richard Wilson. Well, Wilson tells police, yep, I gave Bart a gun. And that gun turned out to be the murder weapon.
Well, there you go. So that's removed. That's Bart is a connection from the gun in Alabama to getting to by his wife's side. So, Jennifer had nothing to do with that gun. There's no reason for Jennifer to have that gun. That's a pretty big piece of evidence there.
Yes. So the prosecution, they're ready for a fight. Bart's lawyers were ready as well. They were going to paint Jennifer as an unhappy woman who'd taken her life after she realized her marriage was over and she might lose custody of her children. Dozens of witnesses were lined up. When Bart's defense team realized that Richard Wilson was literally holding the smoking gun, the defendant, Bart, lays out a bombshell admission.
Uh-oh.
So he admits to both murders, and Bart takes a plea deal in exchange for 2 concurrent life sentences.
So his defense, after I'm sure talking to his lawyers, they're like, look, it's not looking good for you in this case. So we're going to try to take a plea and, get the best deal as we can for you. So they're running concurrently. That means at the same time, right?
Yes.
Ah, interesting. That's a pretty big deal for him, because that means that, it's not like he's going to have to finish one sentence and then start another, which would be the death of him, obviously. So, yeah, he could actually maybe get out.
Well, he pleads guilty for the murders of Jennifer and Dolly, and he started his life of J-Pay and toothbrushes scraping on the floor September 19th, 2006 at Central State Prison.
Okay.
So once he was telling people brush your teeth, and now he's telling people please don't make a shiv with that toothbrush.
But he's still giving that toothbrush advice.
In 2007, the Medical College of Georgia awarded Dolly Hearn with a posthumous degree.
Oh.
Her parents set up a scholarship fund in her name. Jennifer's preschool job, which was at that Methodist church where her kids went to preschool, they dedicated a playground in her memory.
That's sad.
Custody of the Corbin boys was given to Jennifer's sister and her husband. And sadly, both Steve and Kelly Como, the neighbors, died in 2010.
Really? In a
He
car wreck
passed
or
away,
something?
And then it seems like she passed away shortly after.
Oh.
And I didn't find a lot of details about what had happened. So her friends are no longer with us.
Well, that's sad, but
it is very sad.
The Hearn family, they weren't playing around, and they finally got some justice for Dorothy. So, I mean, that's good. And you look, this Mr. Corbin, it looks like a real asshole. Have you looked at I'm sure I know you did, but.
Yeah, I looked him up.
Yeah, I was looking at last night, and he just looks like an asshole.
He looks like a miserable asshole.
He looks like a miserable, mean person. And I think that plays out in this story, that it's obvious that he can't let it go. He can't let other people, go move on and change their life. He has to be the center of it. And controlling, obsessive.
That fear of rejection the extreme.
That is all very bad things, very bad parts of his personality. And he thought he could get away with it again. So
it reminds me of Michael Peterson. Like, it's just so coincidental that you have two women in your life who happen to fall downstairs and die.
What's the freaking statistical odds of that?
Yeah.
I mean, really. And even if having two wives shoot themselves in the head, that seems statistically improbable as well.
I know. It's like you get away with it once. You should just be happy you got away with it once.
Yeah.
But they get cocky and think they can do it again.
Well, they think it worked one time and I can do it again. But, things change. And all it took was, it seems like a brief glimpse at Dolly Hearn's, evidence they did have and stuff from her scene to instantly say, yeah, this is definitely not suicide. So all it was waiting on was someone to take another look at her case, and there you go.
The really sad part of all of this is these children.
Poor child, to be so scared of your father.
And to find your mother in that position.
Oh, my God.
And to live with that for the rest of your life.
It's horrible.
And to be without both your parents. I mean, because not only did he rob these children of their mother, but now they don't have a father either.
Yeah, I always think about in these couple situations where one's killed and one goes away to jail, I always think about the kids and the family left behind.
I mean, obviously, Jennifer's death is very tragic, and that's, the big takeaway here is that these two women lost their lives.
Obviously.
But aside from that, I just look at these children and think, like, man, they're like victims in this story as well.
They lose everything.
It's so sad.
It is very sad. Well, thank you again. I will go back and look up exactly what patron suggested this. Forgive us on that. It has been a while, but Heather did not let go of it. Let go of the story she thought was very interesting, and there we go. Thank you.
Yeah, because
Thank
it's
you very
not
much.
your typical husband-wife marital murder.
No, it's a big story, a long story, and it needed to be told.
Oh, one of the things that I should mention, let me pull these up in my notes because this is just a really crazy thing. So after Bart is tried for the murder, or, He's basically convicted of murdering his wife. There was another story that I found where, and I didn't write this down or didn't put this in my document, but I'd found it in my notes, that a 56-year-old woman named Harriet Gray, who had worked for Dr. Huey, and that was a doctor that Bart Corbin had kind of filled in for, like early on in his career.
When he was interning.
Yeah.
Or apprenticing.
So he would often, if Dr. Huey was out of town, he'd refer patients to Bart. Bart filled in for him, that kind of thing. Well, this woman, Harriet Gray, went missing. And when she was found, her hands were taped to the steering wheel of her Toyota, and she was at the bottom of Lake Tuscaloosa.
What the hell?
And so 10 years after this happened, they have Bart Corbin as a suspect in her murder.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And though he's never been charged, he is like a prime suspect in the murder of this woman, Harriet Gray. So honestly, Bart could have been a serial killer.
Well, he's already been convicted of killing 2 women. And I think killing someone you're with or someone you claim to love is very cold thing to be able to do. But yeah, that's crazy. I did not realize that there could have been another victim.
Yeah, so there could have potentially been a third victim.
Wow.
He's definitely a suspect on the radar for this woman's murder. And he just strikes me as the kind of guy that if he hadn't gone to prison, he would do this again.
I wouldn't be surprised if we've said this before, if there's not another victim of his that no one knows about. Because he definitely has the capacity to murder and kill his fellow humans.
And he's narcissistic and cocky enough to think that he can get away with it.
And you couple that with the rejection and all these other issues he had in his personality, it's the type of thing that can make him snap.
These are the makings. Well, it reminds me of like Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Like he's rejected, then he goes on to be a murderer.
Exactly.
Anyway, that has been the case of Dr. Bart Corbin. Thank you so much for tuning into Mountain Murders. If you would like to drop us a line, you can email mountainmurderspodcast@gmail.com. Of course, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. And if you're feeling extra froggy this week, subscribe and give us a 5-star review. We love those. They're great. They help us in the charts.
So we just read some of our recent 5-star reviews, and thank you very much for those, and it makes us feel great.
And if you are also feeling generous, find us on Patreon, patreon.com/Mountain Murders Podcast. Sign up over there, and your money supports the podcast directly, and you're going to get bonus material. That's right, extra podcasts for your ear hole.
Get all up in it.